Hi, this is Mrs. Earhart, and today we are going to be drawing a palm tree sunset using the magic of linear perspective to create the illusion that you can walk right into the picture. So let's go ahead and get started. So for the first part of my drawing, I want to start with the horizon line. So the horizon line is this line that goes right across the bottom of the picture, and I'm going to use my ruler to make that line nice and straight, and I'm going to put it pretty low down on the page because that gives me this feeling that it's kind of an unusual perspective. I'm looking more at the sky than the road, so it's more of an up view. So starting with that horizon line, pretty low down on the page. Put that line in right there. Now I need my vanishing point. And the vanishing point is the point where all these lines converge into the distance and seem to disappear right back here at the spot in the distance. So I'm going to go ahead and put in that line on my drawing. So the vanishing point, I put roughly in the middle on this one, but it can be interesting to put it off to the side too. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my street into the picture. And I want my street to be pretty wide, so I'm going to draw a line to make the edge of the street connecting with this bottom corner. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, making sure I connect with my vanishing point, taking that line down to the corner. Then I want to add some details. I'm going to add the sidewalk and the little lines down the center of the street. So, sidewalk, always connecting to the vanishing point if I'm doing a one-point perspective piece, or going perpendicular to it. So here are my lines for my sidewalk, and I'm going to go ahead and add some more on the other side. So this little line on the edge is the edge of the sidewalk. That's getting a little line. And then here is the whiter part. Now, I want to go ahead and make the pavers on my sidewalk. Now, everything you will notice in your linear perspective is going to start large and get smaller. So I don't know if you can see it on here, but these little paver lines are going to start larger down here, and they're going to get smaller as they go back. So same idea as the trees and the little lines on the road. So I'm going to draw in those details right here. I'll take that down a little bit. Maybe make another one a little closer together. Way up here. And if I'm doing both sides at the same time, I can make sure that they are level with my ruler or straight edge. Bringing this down and getting a little wider as I go out away from the picture and down here, and then maybe one more as it gets close to the bottom for that widest paver on the sidewalk. There we go. And now I need my lines of the street. So the lines of the street, I'm going to line up with that middle line and just go out slightly. I don't want them to be too wide, but I want them to be visible. This one, I think, I overlap the sidewalk just a tiny bit, so I'm going to fix that. Make sure I'm lining it up with that vanishing point. Now that I have these lines, I can go ahead and break them up. So I want to just use my eraser to cut a little slice out of each one. Go ahead and mark that where the edge of each one is. and the lines in between will get a little wider as I go out further towards the street. I'm gonna go ahead and use my eraser to chop those edges a little neater. All right, next I want to think about where the tops of my palm trees are going to fit in to this line. So I'm going to start by making some circular shapes to kind of define where the top of each palm tree is going to sit. So this is what this looks like. So I'm putting some circular lines, just some rough kind of circular shapes, roughly following my lines here. They don't have to exactly line up. These are going to get smaller and closer together as they get closer to the bottom. And your palm trees might be slightly different heights, so they don't have to all perfectly fall in line. In fact, this one's going to go off the page a little bit, and put some more in here, kind of going back towards this vanishing point, getting smaller and closer together as they go back. Some of them can even be overlapping if you like. Can add a little bit more sense of distance if you add some overlapping. So now that I've got these, I'm going to go ahead and figure out where my tree trunks are going to go. And I can put a line on the bottom of my page to show where the palm trees are growing along the sidewalk. Again, lining up with that vanishing point. Taking a line off to the side. Vanishing point. Line off to the side. And this will give me a line that I can line my palm trees up with. Now, I don't want to use my ruler for this part because I want the trunks to be natural, almost like, you know, like your fingers kind of curve in different directions. So the palm trees don't grow perfectly straight either. They have this more organic look, so I'm going to freehand them to try to get that more organic look where they're kind of curving in a little bit and out, sort of a little bit of S-curve on some of those palm trees. So here we go. Freehanding the palm trees. Meeting up with the tops. And they don't look like palm trees yet. They can look more like giant mushrooms, but that's okay. They'll get there. Gotta believe. Now, next step, I'm gonna make these a little smaller as we get further and further away from the front. Smooth that out a little bit. It's kind of a crooked palm tree. And then we'll put another one. Curving in over here. They're getting smaller, they're getting a little closer together. They're getting a little bit closer to my horizon line too. And you know, you can make them sort of overlap if you want to, especially as you get towards the back here, because they're going to be very, very close together. And then on the other side, again, the little ones down here at the bottom just kind of look like sticks, curvy sticks. And then as you get farther up the page, you'll start to see a little bit more of the trunk of your palm trees in there. And you can add a little bit more thickness to the palm tree trunks. As you go along, I'm lining them up with this guideline that I made here on the bottom. This just helps me to make sure that they're not going over my sidewalk. And again, some might go off of the page a little bit, and that's okay. This one, I don't even know if I'll see it really. I might just see a bit, and then here it is kind of coming in from the side of the page. Now for the palm fronds on the palm trees, you can see the palm fronds are just sort of these curved lines, and they have little lines coming off of them, almost like eyelashes, really. That's kind of what they remind me of. So I'm going to start by doing these little spidery lines for the palm fronds and then add the eyelashes. So spidery lines coming off, and they don't have to perfectly follow the shape of the circles you drew. They can color outside the lines if you want to. So making these sort of spidery shapes. So again, you can overlap some of these branches if you want to. You can make some longer, some can be a little bit shorter, some might be pointed more up, some are hanging down. Just kind of go for a natural sort of look to your curved lines coming off of those palm trees. Or as I like to call them, these spider legs. So, a little teeny tiny spiders here in the background, and then we're gonna add some larger spiders as we go up along our road. Just kind of randomly adding these lines, different curves and angles, and I want these ones on the edge to be really big, so I'm gonna have them come in. So we have this sense of these two really big palm trees here at the front, enhancing that sense of distance that we see in the picture. So now that we have all of our spider legs, we can go ahead and put on our little eyelashes. So little curved lines. These are what's gonna make this look like palm trees more than spiders. So here we go, adding our little curvy lines. You can see these already start to get a look of a palm tree, even though we haven't really added much detail yet. And these are going to be silhouettes in our image anyway, so we don't have to worry about adding a whole lot of detail. We more just want to get that palm tree shape. And you can erase most of these lines when you're done. We're just going to be using them as guidelines. And when you paint the lines on, they might look a little bit different, and that's okay, as long as your lines below aren't showing through too much. You can make any needed adjustments as you go along. So now that I've got some little eyelash lines on my spidery lines, my palm trees are starting to come to life here. I add just a few more details. All right, and now we're ready to erase. And I always tell my students you want to make sure you erase all of your extra lines, the guidelines that we put on, the little circle lines, any other lines that we don't want to keep thoroughly before we paint, because any little lines that you leave might show through your watercolor if you didn't erase them thoroughly enough. So always erase everything that you don't need for guidelines in your finished painting. So I'm going to go ahead and do that step now, and you can choose to paint your final one. If you don't have paints at home, you can color it. Colored pencil, crayon, you could do it digitally and add color with digital media. So any way you want to do this, artist's choice. So I'm going to go ahead and erase these lines now. And take out any lines that are no longer needed. So you get the feeling that all these palm trees were just magically lined up this way. So all my construction lines. All right, and now you're ready to add color, or if you prefer, you can fix some of your lines a little bit and darken the ones you want to keep before you add color. And then we'll be going ahead and getting our watercolor out for the next step. Thank you for drawing with us today. I really enjoyed making this beautiful piece with you guys. So please share your artwork with me. I would love to see it, and please join us next time. Take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye.